Well, may I say, welcome back, blade lovers. OG Blade Reviews is with you once again. That's what I do. And we're cruising down fixed blade lane for the next few reviews, I believe. Might intersperse a folder here and there. But I'm getting a backlog of medium to large fixed blades in, some Bowie knives and outdoor sort of knives. I'm not a camping sort of outdoor knife sort of a guy, unfortunately, anymore, due to some age and limitations. And I walk out in the woods and whatnot, but I don't camp and don't do much hiking and so forth these days. So used to, fair amount, not a lot, but some scouts and whatnot, and on my own. All right, enough of that banter. ZT, made in the good old USA. No complaints here. They are a stellar knife company. There's a nice company too, making this single fixed blade that I'm aware of, and the only one, no, maybe one other, sorry about that may or may not be still made. Got this from Adept Knives. I want to thank the folks out at Adept Knives. No, they didn't give it to me, but I got it, and you can get it too at a hefty discount on their website. Just sign up, give them your email, and we're not talking 10%. We're talking significant more. Okay, couldn't believe it. So did look them up. They are legit. I got the knife. It comes with all of the usual ZT warranty stuff and affirming that the knife is indeed ZT and made in the US. The box looks great, premium performance, Kai USA. I know that boxes can be replicated, and I don't want to linger on that topic very long, but when you look up Adept Knives, there was some early discussion about whether or not they're selling bona fide legit stuff. They are. They definitely are. And they are an upstanding family-run business in California. Okay? There it is. Not much unboxing to do. There was some bubble wrap inside in that card I showed you, and maybe a sticker that's now on my knife cabinet. So this is the ZT0006, named after the blade length. No less, no more. 6 inches, the 6 we can call it, or we can call it the 06. If you need to use all the zeros, have at it. Comes in this outdoorish military sort of sheath. It is a younger brother, you might say, a smaller version of the ZT9, which was a bayonet type of knife designed to actually go onto the muzzle of a rifle. I can't even recall seeing one, except maybe a long time ago when they first came out. I'm a little late to the party. This has been out at least a year or more at this point in 2025, maybe a couple years. There's, I think, a couple of variants. There's a blacked out version, if I'm not incorrect. And there is this OD green version. Very typical sort of military type sheath. The reason we got the strap here is that, let me see if I can demo. Yeah. You don't want to carry this upside down on like a molly or a backpack or something like that. There's not a lot of retention with the sheath, and this knife, there it is, has received a few criticisms, more than a few, on the sheath, not the knife. Now the kydex of the sheath, or Bolteron, forget what they're calling it, pretty much those are interchangeable terms, both brand names, is fine. It's sturdy, it's slotted, and it's grommeted. And this can get taken right off with these Chicago screws. So should you want to remove the frog here, that's what they call these belt loops, a frog. Don't know the genesis of that, but I'm sure some of you do. It gives us a wide opening because of the guard for snapping it in there. And, you know, it's pretty good, seems like pretty good retention, except it's not really grabbing it tight. Whether or not a remolding with a heat gun could cure that, I'm not sure. Some people have just gone out and made or purchased a leather sheath, made or purchased a new Kydex sheath. Again, the quality of the Kydex and the thickness and all of that is not bad. It's fine. There's your fluids drainage hole at the bottom. So let's get to the knife, shall we? Because I think the sheath is adequate for most purposes, especially if you use the strap and leave the frog on there. But what we have within that sheath is a beautiful, beautiful tactical combat style knife, or simply your outdoor survival knife. Now it does disassemble, and I may very well do that before we're done, because disassembly is quite easy. We remove first the, I think we remove first the butt cap, and then we remove the side scales. So it is a full tang knife. It's got some hefty, hefty measurements. We are going to do some measurements. I could have pulled them up on their site, but I thought I'd measure this out today. There is plenty of room on the handle. There is some nice jimping. Oh yes, and the steel is 3V. And they say that that is hardened. I had to look it up, but not on ZT's site. Maybe it was elsewhere on ZT's site. 59 to, I'm 69. 59 to 61 is what they're claiming the hardness range for the 3V is. Now that's not necessarily bad for 3V, which is inherently a very tough and chip resistant tool steel as it is. So you harden it up beyond that and maybe it's going to become chippy. However, there are some folks hardening their 3V up well beyond the 61 mark, I believe. Nice texturing on the handle. And this has gotten some rave reviews by guys that have actually gone out and tested it in the wilderness and done feather sticking and chopping and slicing and camp food prep. I haven't done any of that, and not likely that I will. With these sort of knives that I likely won't carry every day, it's more of a collectible. I admit it. It's more of a collectible. It's more of a showpiece. It's probably going to remain in pristine condition, and many of you are cringing right now because you'd love to have this in your hand and use the damn thing. And I may very well, because it could be in a go bag. You never know. It's got a full military style crossguard. A lot of people like that. Guys like James Williams doesn't necessarily, because if you are using this as a stabby, cutty, defend yourself sort of a knife, these do tend to get hung up on clothing, both your own clothing and an assailant's clothing. So I'm looking at this more from a tactical defensive point of view. I can speak to that. I've had experience in training in those arts and teaching and using knives, as well as being in the company of others who do the same. So we're going to get some measurements on this guy. It is a beautiful, beautiful, well done knife with a bead blast finish. No, is it a bead blast? Actually, it is Cerakoted. And if Cerakote isn't the coating and you know better, let me know, but I'm pretty sure it's Cerakote, because you have a rustable steel, a stainable steel underneath with the 3V, which is not stainless. Very tough, but not stainless. So I take that back. It is a completely coated steel guard, steel pommel, steel screws, steel blade. Lengthwise, it is 10 3/4 inches. And as they implied by the name, it is exactly a 6-inch knife with a handle that is 4.5 inches, including the pommel. As far as the thicknesses go, we're in millimeters, so let's get a blade stock in millimeters. Almost, yeah, we're going to call it 5 millimeters. I wanted to jump up to 5 millimeters. The handle in millimeters, 17.5. I'll go back to the blade in inches. We got a 0.18 and we've got a 0.69 across the handle. There you go. As far as the weight goes, it is skeletonized in the handle. We'll talk about that. So it's fairly light for its size. And what are we on here? Let's go to, don't want carats, we want grams. So in grams, 296.51. In ounces, 10.5 ounces. Yeah, we'll round up, 10.5 ounces, a little less. But yeah, guys, it's a fixed blade. You know, you're not going to carry it in your pocket. And this is not a pocket fixed blade unless you got super deep balloon sort of bellows, kind of expandable tactical pants pockets. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick break and disassemble and kind of show you how it fits back together and then reassemble. Well, there he is. Miracle of video editing and so forth, yada, yada. That took a little extra work to get off. I needed to use my trusty Lyman hammer. Go Lyman Tools, yes. Wallingford, Connecticut. Got a brass side, all of which unscrews. You got pins inside. I used the plastic nylon. That way I didn't mess anything up. But this is what we've got. Just the blade with the tang. I got to get right to it. I don't know why people commented. There was somebody's YouTube video on this, I think, a while ago, or maybe it was in Blade forums or something, that people were all worried about these skeletonized holes making the knife weak. There is no way that skeletonization is going to make the handle weak. If you're prying with the knife, first of all, it's all assembled. You've got plenty of thickness here of hardened steel. It's neither going to snap because they gave it a good HRC for its purposes, or is it going to bend? So the actual stress points usually are up around the guard anyway, and there you've got pretty much full thickness. Not to mention that these shapes are what they use in bridges and so forth for strength. So there is plenty of strength. I don't know of anybody, even gorillas, who might be able to bend this knife. Maybe they can, I don't know. Anyway, it's a moot point, as we say. That skeletonization gives you a beautiful balance, which I'll demonstrate and hadn't yet when the knife is all assembled. That places it right behind the guard where your index finger is. So we've got this nut here that is captured in that slot on the handle to hold the butt cap on. So you've got a secure point, and actually really is reinforced in the tang of the blade. These are your, right here and here is a pass-through for the, is it? No, these are pass-throughs for the handle screws. That's what you would need. You've got a tubular part of the screw there. It is a T15, and I used my trusty WIA bit set. Usually these are kind of wonky, but I just take the bits out and use another handle. But in this case, it gave me plenty of leverage. They were Loctited in with what appears to be a red Loctite, which is usually permanent. So I don't get why they came out relatively easily. But they're all snugged in there nice and tight. So if you never disassemble the knife, you'll be fine. It's going to stay tight forever. And then we're now going to, through the miracle of video editing once again, put it back together. But this is what you got. Before I go through all of that work, there is your knife. If you wanted to, you could actually, use it as is and lash it onto a pole using all the holes you got there, and you got a spear. Guard is beautifully done. I mean, I can show you how nicely done this guard is. That goes towards the blade. This is back where your handle is, and so forth. Beautiful, exquisite machining and finishing, and coating with the Cerakote. That is the gray Cerakote there. And that is it. We're going to be back momentarily. And so there we are. It was a little bit of effort for me. I think, the effort is in trying to obviously film and break and take it apart and not want to take too long. I did misinform you on one thing. The guard needs to go with these little milled out portions to the blade, not to the handle. And why is that? Because the handles won't flush fit to the side. They have to flush fit to the flat side of the guard. Aside from that, everything is perfect. I mean, it is a really, zero tolerance. They mean it. There's zero slop, zero tolerance for any gaps, spaces. This is really solid. I think I could see a tiny bit of light coming through right there and maybe there, but that's about it. So if you should drop this in the mud in the great outdoors, the whole thing breaks down. Rinse it off, oil it up, and you're good to go. I mean, it's just as solid as before I took it apart. Let's do some compares because I'm a little bit late in getting to that. I want to compare to some other camp, survival, outdoors sort of blades. This one comes from Tops, and it is the Viking Tactics Norseman, and that is designed by Kyle Lamb for Tops. It is from the typical 1095 tool steel that Tops uses. It's got their acid rain finish on it, which is this really cool gray finish. I like it much better than their black crinkle coat. Giant lanyard there. You could fit about 10 paracords through there, or something thicker, piece of rope maybe. I'm not sure. This also disassembles. No, sorry, I'm not going to disassemble it today. It is nicely cut out for thumb. It's got a really beautiful, I've only seen this in one or two other Tops knives where they do this vine style jimping on the spine. Really, really nice. Kind of a two-tone. We got a red liner. We've got the two-tone here on the micarta. We've got a green and a tan. I mean, it's virtually a custom knife. Got a usable finger choil, nice sharpening choil. You may or may not agree. Only thing about the knife is the handle is a little on the small side, meaning thin or not tall here, fine thickness here, just it's skinny, okay? And some people don't care for that. Perfect for gloves. That might have been the intent. But if you really cinch it up in your hand, actually it's not bad. So that is the Tops Norseman, another knife that is in the same category, I feel. And the T5 from Lion Steel, from Niolox. This is one of the top-rated camp outdoor knives that I've seen other reviewers put up on YouTube who actually do use the knives. Again, Niolox, it's a Moletta design from Italy. It's made in Italy. Lion Steel. Did I say Fox? Lion Steel. Nice short run of jimping on the blade and the handle there. And this is a full thickness contoured handle with kind of that Coke bottle swell in the middle there. We've got basically a hammer on that side. Use it for what you will. Held on by screws, lanyard hole. The handle is interesting because what they did was slot a whole chunk of micarta and then drop the tang of the blade down in from the top. So you've got a full tang knife, but you've got the comfort, especially in colder weather, of having just that warmer micarta on your fingers there. See if I can back out a tad. Right about there, okay. Superb knife. They've got a drop point on it with a swedge, so you can definitely use it for your stabby stuff, as well as a high grind and a very keen edge. Came with a leather sheath. I've got it around somewhere, but what I did was, where the heck is it? Picked up an aftermarket Kydex sheath. Sorry if I don't have the name of the company. They might have branded it somewhere here. But it's sufficient. It wasn't a nice, real perfect snap fit. It's more of a push fit, and you can thumb it off relatively easily. So it's functional, just not the greatest Kydex sheath. The leather sheath's great too, just a little bulky for me. And if I ever find it, I can put it in the next review where I use the T5 as a compare. Also, we're going to have a lot of knives on the table. The Reckart from Artisan, which I think switched over to Sencut. They may still be making these. It's a famous and popular military sort of bayonet-ish kind of design. It's been tagged as an outdoor sort of a knife. We're going to put it over on the side there. AR RPM 9, kind of like an improvement on D2, I'm told, enough to make it stainless. You can see the bayonet style fuller, sharpened only on one side. Nice ergonomic handle. If you wanted to roll that in for Pical style work, you definitely could. Again, is the Reckart, W-R-E-C-K-H-A-R-T. Got it a few years ago when it was branded under Artisan. And again, perhaps it still is. For compare, because I mentioned the whole thing about guards. Now, guards are extremely useful, and it's a personal choice. Definitely keeps your hand from slipping onto the blade. Gets in a way a bit if you wanted to press your thumb on the back of the blade, although with the ZT here, we can sort of arch the thumb over the top. Here is the Columbia River, James Williams designed HZ6, 6 for 6 inches, but you're going to find that it's a bit longer. Got to pull them all down, don't I? That the blade is a bit longer, almost, you know, we're creeping up on 7 inches really with this guy. Where's the ruler when I need it? There we go. Not sure I'll squeeze everything in, but we'll try. So that blade is 6 1/4. Definitely 6 inches on this guy. At least 6 inches on the Viking Norseman. Yeah, if you go to the top part of the guard. If you go down in here, you get to like 6 1/2-ish. And then I think we got a 5-inch going on here. Yeah, 5 inches on the T5. Is it T5 or T5000? I think it's T5. Names, names, names. One more though. I would say the knife I love the most on the table. Not taking anything away from the ZT. This is the, I think, still made crosshair from, you guessed it, Microtech. It is a real all-in-oneer, except don't make the mistake I did once and try to think that that's a finger groove. It definitely ain't, and I wouldn't even go sideways on that. I bought this through a seller on eBay that's a noted and good seller, and I wanted it in an S30V, and it was also made in D2. Well, he sent me the D2. When I told him about it, he gave me a heavy discount, so I kept the D2. I can only imagine that D2 being done as a tough tool steel by Microtech, you're going to get a good heat treat, and you're going to get really good stuff. It is Cerakoted with kind of a slightly shiny Cerakote, which would protect the D2 from much deterioration. You just have to take care of the edge And the edges on this one, I love the concept of full serration just about on the top and smooth edge on the bottom. Best of both worlds. And this spear point, great stabby spear point. And this sucker here will definitely cut. So if you needed to go to Pical, it's a stab and rip kind of a situation, or cut rope, anything difficult to slice, definitely going to be taken care of by that. A beautiful, beautiful knife. Keep your thumb up on the thumb ramp. If you go out here, just take care. They make, I think, the crosshair and the Apache, which is similar with the different Mortanto blade shape. And this was built in 2011. Look at that, 2011 Microtech crosshair, number 01250, 1250. So maybe kind of an auspicious number as well. Well, there you have it. I'll put this over on the side here. We're today talking about the ZT6 or ZT0006. And there is that balance, if I can show that to you. Look at that. Right at the screw, right behind the guard. Couldn't be more perfect. Hence the weight relieving in the handle. Going to leave them all out there for my parting shot, but right about now you will see my logo over here. And click on that if you haven't subscribed, and it'll bring you to a spot where you can subscribe to my channel and be notified when all the great vids drop. There's going to be more fixed blades for sure coming out. I've kind of gotten into a fixed blade tear and a buoy tear, as my friend Bob DeMarco likes to say. And I got to blame him. He's been showing way too many buoys and large knives. So here I am, fixed blade heaven. Take care. Be well. Stay safe.